On April 24, marking 108th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide, during which 1.5 million Armenians were killed in the hands of the government of Ottoman Turkey, took place the annual March for Justice, organized by AYF and ANC Eastern chapters. As in the years before, the marchers, which included many youth, as well as clergymen, led by Serpazanhair Archbishop Anoushavan Tanielian and the community at large, began marching from St. Illuminator's Armenian Cathedral in Manhattan to Turkish and Azerbaijani consulates. The marchers demanded not only justice for the victims of the Armenian Genocide, the first genocide of the 20th century, but also accountability for Azerbaijani aggression and violence against Artsakh and Armenia. Marchers' first stop was Azerbaijan's mission at the UN, where calls and speeches were made demanding opening of the blockade and to end the policy of extermination against the people of Artsakh.
Hey, hey, ho, ho! Aliyev has got to go! Shame on Aliyev! Stop aid to Azerbaijan! Stop aid to Azerbaijan! Azeri drones kill children!
Since 44-day war in 2020, the significance of this march commemorating the Armenian Genocide has become ever more important, because unfortunately, the dangers Armenia faced over a century ago are present today. Azerbaijan continues the total blockade of Artsakh, now on its 138th day and counting. 120,000 Armenians, including 30,000 children, are facing a humanitarian crisis. Food, medicine and fuel are extremely low, and heat and electricity are sporadic. Schools are closed, and hospitals are struggling to care for their patients. Furthermore, Azerbaijani government continues to ignore the World Court order to open Lachin Corridor and to ensure a free movement of civilians, and recently installed an illegal checkpoint at Hakkari Bridge in Lachin Corridor in gross violation of 2020 ceasefire agreement. The US State Department also said there should be free and open movement of people and commerce on the Lachin Corridor. Additionally, Armenia itself is in real and present danger, with deadly attacks against our soldiers at the border. Swaths of Armenian territory are already under Azerbaijani occupation. Armenia's survival is central to the fight to preserve and strengthen democracy around the world. The marchers' second stop was Turkey's permanent mission at the UN.
Turkey is guilty of genocide!
Turkey is guilty of genocide! Turkey has no freedom of speech!
Turkey has no freedom of speech!
Turkey has no freedom of speech!
Turkey kills children!
Turkey kills children!
Turkey kills children!
Turkey kills children!
Turkish drones kill civilians!
Turkish drones kill civilians!
We are Ani!
We are Ani!
We are Kharpert!
We are Kharpert!
We are Dikanaget!
We are Dikanaget!
Several speakers, amongst them Archbishop Anoushavan Tanielian, expressed their strong outrage at the current situation in Artsakh and Armenia.
Tell me what kind of genes have this nation, the Ottoman Turks. With lips brazen, they announce, they proclaim that they are a democratic country, while they are trying only to kill. Their atrocities already they speak of their identity, who they are. For 108 years, our forefathers and we, in our own turn too, waited patiently to see that how the executors, the perpetrators of the genocide, will recognize the seriousness of their actions. They will recognize and make retribution. They will narrow the abyss between these two nations who lived for centuries in Caucasus and Middle East. But rather, they widened more and more. And here we are 108 years later, saying in front of the embassy of the Republic of Turkey to UN that here we are. Our fathers, they marched the desert of their Zor, and today we are marching victoriously in New York, the apple eye of the world. Genocide is not only yesterday. Yes, yesterday they wiped out Western Armenia. Genocide is also today, because they are trying to do the same in Artsakh. That's why we are here, to prevent the future genocide of Armenia sooner or later for Eastern Armenia. Through our experience, we know what does mean to live with this nation. Patiently, always, we have input our positive creativity in the building up of that empire. But woe to the executors who unfortunately darkened with their and obsessed with genocide. They tried to take out Armenians from their own bosom. And that's why they are suffering. And they are trying to do the same to other minorities. My wish and my prayer is that the sooner the state of Republic of Turkey, they recognize, they make retribution, and they lay bridges that will be for the advancement of their and our descendants.
The Armenian genocide never ended. It is an ongoing process. But so long as the Turkish and Azeri authorities engage in genocide, Armenians around the world will show up, struggle, and fight for our collective rights and liberation. We will not be dissuaded or silenced by our enemies' money or resources, because we have something they do not: an unconditional and unwavering love for our nation, our land, and our people. We will always work towards and fight for the preservation of that nation. As diasporans, we symbolize both the survival of our ancestors and the continued struggle against the genocide regimes. We must do everything in our power and within our means to fight against Erdogan and Aliyev. We must stop the occupation. We must demand reparations. We must repatriate back to Armenia and take charge of our nation's future and destiny.
That we will never let the Turkish or Azeri government or any other force on this earth take our resolve to not simply survive, but to thrive. When we say 1915 never again, we declare that we will not allow them to perpetuate a genocide of a different kind, one for our minds, our hearts, and our souls. When we say 1915 never again, as William Saroyan so rightly said, we will always create a new Armenia whenever two of us come together, wherever we are in the world. As a Christian Armenian, when we say 1915 never again, we will protest and we will anger and we will be angry. But in our anger, we will not sin and we will not drink from the same cup of hate that was poured out against us. When we say 1915 never again, it means that we will teach future generations the truth about what happened. To love and not fear. We will pass on our Christian faith, as well as our language, our sharagans, dance, food, art, music, and every aspect of our rich culture, and never let anything divide us. When we say 1915 never again, we remind ourselves of what God declares in the Bible. Vengeance is mine, I will repay. One day when we stand before Him, His justice will prevail. His vengeance will be complete and perfect. He will balance the scales that we long to see. We will rejoice with Vartan Mamigonyan, our family members, and the saints that we honor today, when we will declare once and for all, 1915!
The unity of Armenians around the world is paramount in this time of great danger, to the motherland and to the Armenian people in Artsakh and Armenia. Armenians in diaspora, with the rest of civilized world, must stand up to Azeri aggression and make sure that horrific events of 1915 will never happen again.
Jetzt haben den Schrift in